Longtime viewers of this channel know about my special relationship with Loki. While other content creators have condemned him to serve in the Arishem mines forever, I, like the McRib, have brought him back for a limited time in a non-Arishem deck that I actually think is quite strong. This is the list. It is a werewolf bounce list that is also using the collector and beast and a clog sub-theme. One thing that you might notice is that Loki is not necessarily core to this deck. The idea here is you just have a bunch of cards that are good, and then Loki gives you more cards that are good. I think specifically having cards that are good to have in your hand when you play Loki are quite important in this deck. We have, of course, Shang-Chi and Mockingbird, who are like the premier versions of those cards. Mockingbird after a Loki is completely insane. Shang-Chi after a Loki is Shang-Chi, and you kind of know how that is. The rest of the deck is just trying to put together a reasonable enough points package without being over-reliant on one thing specifically. You don't necessarily want to be Athena deck when you're playing Loki, not that it's necessarily bad, but I think it's a little bit more advantageous to have your power linked to something your opponent is more likely to have in the deck. Like, of course, Werewolf by Night, because most decks are actually playing on reveals at this point in the season. So, when you look at this deck, you should see a couple of different packages. The first thing you see is that it is a bounce deck, and then alongside that, it is also running a soft clog package. We are not fully committed to being a clog deck. Viper and Hood are kind of the only things that are like hard committing us in that direction, but of course we also have Acid Arrow coming off of Kate Bishop. We have White Widow that is being able to be bounced by Beast, and so there is a major clog sub-theme in this deck. The other thing that you may notice is that there is a collector sub-theme in this deck. This is not for synergy with Loki. Loki will not be giving the collector any extra points. What it is because you are a deck that generally wants to be a Hope Summers deck already. You are not super invested in being a Athena deck because of this werewolf package, and you want something that can get pretty damn big. And Collector does not have to get the biggest in the world to be a relevant and good investment. He just has to be pretty reasonably large. Between Beast and Snowguard and, of course, Kate Bishop, you end up in a situation where you actually, some of the time, run out of space in your hand. You are generating a lot of cards in this deck, and so hand management is actually a pretty crucial strategy when you have to play it. Basically, this deck operates as something similar to a bounce deck, but it has Loki to absolutely hammer into Arishem matchups, into other mid-range decks, and just generally push the deck a little bit over the top. This is the first deck I've played with Loki where I actually feel like there's something thought out happening here, and it's not just, oh, let's slap Loki into Athena, or oh, let's slap Loki into like Marvel Boy stuff. This is a deck that is using Loki for real utility. Again, there are certain matchups that Loki is by far the best card in a deck like this in. Sandman, for example, Loki is unbelievable. Arishem, Loki is unbelievable. And so you're effectively a very solid bounce deck that is also bringing to bear a card that is extremely strong into what I would describe as the two best decks in the game right now. The Hood is a key card in many bounce decks, and with the Collector in this deck, he actually gets a little bit better than you may expect him to. The reason the Hood is good here is because he is a combination of your bounce and clog sub-themes. He overlaps those cards while also overlapping with the Collector. There's a lot of overlap in a deck like this, right? Like the Hood is good because you can bounce him because he puts points on the Collector, because you can put points on the Collector and then send him over with the Viper. But fundamentally, a lot of what this deck is about doing is sculpting a good hand and then Lokiing away the rest of your deck, and then drawing things that are generally good on power. And having a demon in your back pocket is a great way to do that, as is preventing your opponent from playing cards in a location because you are clogging it up in a meaningful way. The Hood allows you to do all of the things this deck wants to do. Similarly, Nico Minoru is just doing absolutely everything here, whether it's turning a Hood into a demon, which discounts your Mockingbird, or turning Loki into drawing two cards, which is completely insane because you're drawing two cards that have been Loki'd, extremely strong, or cloning a Mockingbird, or cloning a Loki, or cloning a Beast, or even just base level, just giving power to your stuff and then getting bounced. Nico is just an absolute, like, I don't know, I would describe her as like an all-star role player. Think Devin Booker at the Olympics, knows what is supposed to happen here, not going to go out and win games on her own, but very often going to be a valuable piece of a winning squad. Snowguard, and by extension the Collector package, is the part of this deck I'm least sure about. Obviously, getting 2 points of power, good. You want to do that, right? But it's when you have this hand, you have these hand size issues, is basically what I'm trying to say. You have this card, you have Beast, you have Hood, you have Kate Bishop, you have Loki, who draws you a card as well. And so there are going to be these games where you aren't going to want to play cards like Kate Bishop or Snowguard because you want to draw the cards that Loki is going to give you. Hand size is an actual problem in this deck. I would consider maybe trying Maria Hill over here. I don't know what other card I really want, though. I know for a fact the Hood is amazing. I know Nico Minoru is amazing. Snowguard is fine, I guess. Like, she's an on-reveal who overlaps with the Collector. Sometimes the beasts that she gives you are going to be relevant, but not really a lot of the time. I don't know. It's one of those cards where I feel like this is clearly the worst thing in the deck because of the issues it causes with hand size, but I'm not really sure I can bring myself to replace it with something that is a worse card on balance, just because it fits a little bit better. I think that's something you're going to have to think about when you play this deck. Beast is just a ridiculous card right now. It is not a surprise to find this card in so many decks right now, because really, outside of Arishem and Sandman stuff, pretty much everything else is trying to clog you in some way, or is a Beast deck itself. And so you end up in this situation where being able to recycle your clog cards is good. Being able to pick up the cards your opponent is clogging you with is good. Being able to put cards in your hand and discount them is very obviously good. This is a great Beast deck. Beast is an absolute all-star here. And honestly, I feel like there are very few decks that have Beast in them where Beast is anything but one of the 3 best cards in the entire deck. He is unbelievably good. He gets you out of so many different bad situations. Just a phenomenally powerful, extremely strong card. Shout out to Hank McCoy. Collector is almost on the chopping block because of my issues with Snowguard. And I think if you start cutting Snowguard, then Collector starts feeling worse. But when you look at scaling 2s, there aren't really a ton of options. If we're going to be a werewolf deck, we can't be Athena deck. We can try to be an Angela deck, but we're not a Kitty Pryde deck. So, like, let's say we cut this for an Angela and then the Snowguard for a Kitty Pryde, and it's like, is that really worth the investment here? That's really hard to make work with Werewolf by Night. Maybe this is just the best scaling 2-drop we have if we have decided to be a Werewolf by Night, and that means we have to make the sacrifice of including Snowguard in the deck, even though sometimes it jams up our Loki draws. Maybe that's true. I personally feel like this guy is just good enough that I don't want to cut him, but if I had to make changes to the deck, that is the direction I would be looking, I think. This card is just straight up messed up. Like, there are so many games that you're just going to clog someone on turn 4 because of this card. Whether that be because you're sending over something with a Viper, or you're bouncing it with a Beast, or doing something horrendous. Like, you're just going to clog a lot of people with on turn 4 between this and Kate Bishop and Bounce stuff and Viper, and you're just going to do that a lot, and that's just really busted. That's just a really, really, really strong thing to do. And I think that is part of why this sub-theme as a sub-theme of Loki works, because you are a deck that is very good at setting up a situation where you have 1 lane 1, and once you have that 1 lane 1, Loki's going to be able to figure out how to win you another lane. Like, that is something that is almost always going to happen. It's just a very straightforward line from I have a guaranteed win to I can figure out the rest of this. I think that the general public is actually still too low on Kate Bishop. Kate Bishop is unbelievably strong. I am such a fan of this card, I cannot express it enough. People are finding all sorts of weird ways to use this card, but there are a couple of utility things that I wanted to talk about. The first thing is that you can actually use the grapple arrow to move things like goblins or for example, you can use the grapple arrow to move an acid arrow that you have sent over, meaning you can sort of try to free roll that. It works the same way as with goblins. So what you do is you play the grapple arrow and then you play the thing that you want to send over. It goes over first, and then if it can move to where the grapple arrow is, it will move. That's pretty powerful. Now, that is how it works with goblins as well. So you can, if there aren't any in here, but like you're gonna get them off Loki because everyone is playing Clog at this point. And you can do a bunch of little tricks like that. Of course, Acid Arrow, very strong. The worst arrow by far is the basic arrow, the Hawkeye arrow, but you have your little Ant-Man arrow. The other two are doing things that are quite useful. You have to really focus on positioning with those in terms of Werewolf by Night, and that's the other thing that really works well with this, is that Werewolf by Night is a card that scales with on reveals. Kate Bishop gives you 3 out of 4 arrows are on reveals that cost 1. It's exactly the card you want. Just an absolute all-star in a deck like this, not even to mention that it buffs the collector. I think at this point, most people understand what Werewolf by Night is. He is a mean scaling stat stick that you use in order to create large amounts of power. The things I want to talk about with Werewolf by Night are how people are going to play against him. The first thing that you're going to want to pay attention to is, are you going to be able to have priority, or are you not going to be able to have priority? If you have priority with Werewolf by Night, you want to make sure that he's not in the lane they're expecting, because they're going to Shang-Chi or Shadow King him a lot of the time. If you don't have priority with Werewolf by Night, you want to plan for that lane getting Shadow Kinged or Shang-Chi'd. And that means if you think you're not going to have priority, you aren't going to want your werewolf to be Shang-Chi-able. You are okay, I guess, with it being Shadow Kingable. There's nothing you can do about that, but you are going to want to play around it. And so focusing on who has priority on the final turn of the game with Werewolf by Night is actually very important. It's a really important thing that you have to do, and that is probably one of the more skill-testing things that this card brings to bear. Now, scaling with on reveals is obviously very good, but keep in mind that we are in a bit of a clog meta, which creates both opportunities and whatever the opposite of an opportunity is. Werewolf by Night can go in a lane, block you from being clogged, and then move out of that lane. That's a thing that can happen that can be very good. Werewolf by Night can also be clogged and then be unable to move out of a lane in the way that you want it. So you really have to think a lot, not just about what you're doing, but about what your opponent is doing when you invest as heavily in a card as a deck like this invests in Werewolf by Night. Okay, so this card's like kind of busted still, honestly. I don't think it's better than previous Loki, for whatever that's worth, but this is a very, very powerful card in almost every scenario, because there are so far fewer decks that are actually built to beat it now. There were many decks that were built to beat a Loki in previous iterations of the metagame, right? There were decks that could beat a Loki just by existing. Things like Phoenix Force, just decks that were a little bit too finicky. Thena decks are a great example where they're just finicky enough that when you Loki them with old Loki, it's probably too late. Now, when you Loki them with this deck, because you have the Collector in here, because you have Werewolf by Night in here, you are able to play meaningful games against those Thena decks and have that Loki be legitimate upside. I would go so far as to say you're actually favored in those matchups now, and I don't think you were, as weird as that may sound, with old Loki, because of the amount of finicky, weird, early scaling that those decks could bring to bear that you were often unable to match. Now, you can match it, and it's very strong. One special use of this card is completely insane against Sandman. Like, it's kind of your only shot against Sandman, is just like, you Loki them and you do what they were going to do, but better. You blow them out of the water, you have a bunch of points, you clog them a little bit, and then you play like Claw and Ultron, and they're just like, oh shit, I'm dead. That's really good. Also really good into Arishem. Just basically every card they put in their deck is a good card at this point, and getting them for cheaper is obviously ridiculous and allows you to sort of make up the gap that is created by, of course, the fact that they have 1 extra energy. Good into both of the best decks in the game, basically. Strong card. The Clog package of Hood, Viper, Kate Bishop, and of course, White Widow, and I guess you could count Beast as part of that Clog package, is a reasonable one to include. I think the Hood and Viper are the ones that are the most sort of dependent. The other cards in this package, Beast, Kate Bishop, White Widow, are just like independently good. They're going to be good no matter what you do. Hood and Viper, they do sort of require each other to be good. But one thing I don't want you to get caught up on is having to Viper something over that has negative power. It's totally fine to just go like, hey, there's 2 units in this lane. I'm going to play White Widow, and then I'm going to Viper over the White Widow, and then they're going to have no ability to play cards there, and then I'm going to win that lane. That's totally valid. A lot of new Loki is figuring out what it is that you're willing to give up out of your deck that you are willing to say, I guess I'm not drawing that, in order to get the power boost that he represents. Shang-Chi is usually the card that we're talking about here. It's weird. It's sort of inverted. Old Loki, you never wanted to have Shang-Chi in your hand. You always wanted to be able to draw your Shang-Chi. New Loki, you always want to have Shang-Chi in hand because that's what's gonna get you to winning the game. Loki's power or cost reduction means that you are able to pair many cards with that Shang-Chi. You're able to do a bunch of stuff alongside that Shang-Chi. And frankly, I think we all know at this point that putting a lot of power on the board on the final turn of the game while also playing a Shang-Chi is like the classic how to win a Marvel Snap game. Everyone knows this one. There should be no questions about how strong that is. Speaking of cards we want in our hand before we Loki, Mockingbird is just very often like a 110 when you are playing it on turn 6 after having Loki'd on turn 3. Just really good. Not only are you going to be able to like get demons onto the board from either Nico or the Hood, which are discounting this card, you're also just gonna be able to play the card Loki and discount it very heavily as well. Extremely powerful card. You definitely want to have it in your hand. In any mid-range matchup, having this in hand and playing Loki is a snap condition. It's actually just that strong, actually just that ridiculous, and actually exactly as annoying for your opponent as you might think. All right, y'all, thank you so much for making it through that video. As always, I have been KM Best. You have been phenomenal, and I will see you in the next one. Remember to like and subscribe. I greatly appreciate it, and stick around if you want to see some gameplay for this incredible Loki deck. I will note, I don't know if pointing this out is stupid. I feel like I shouldn't point this out, but I feel it, so I'm gonna point it out. I feel like I've stumbled over my tongue a lot more in this video than I normally do, and I need everyone in the comments to tell me that that's not true because I'm actually very insecure. All right, I'll see you in the next one. Okay. Whoa, why are they snapping me? Why is he snapping me about this? What did I give him? Shang Nico stuff? Okay, here's my read. I don't know if it's a good read, but here's my read. We got him! Guess what Hawkeye does? Oh, let's go. Let's go. Husky. Okay, fucking locations. Jesus. Okay, Acid Arrow, you piece of shit. I'm guessing I'm just snapping this. Is Acid Arrow as good as we thought it was? Yes. Thank God. Wait, what's in the middle? Okay. I was about to lose my shit if we actually got there. That was a scary sight, dude. That was a scary sight, dude. Boy. This is probably broken. Oh, what the fuck? That is the worst thing that has ever happened. Holy shit. Okay, we got him! Ah! Oh. You're going there. How did Galactus return? Because I wanted to. I did a thing. All right, let's see what happens here. I just gotta win one of these lanes. Okay. That's a big Ajax. Shit. I beefed. Wait. They beefed it. Oh my god. They had it. They had it, but they were like, I need to play another card. I just want my cubes back. I'm trying to, like, play aggressively for my cubes. Don't talk to me. Oh, Jesus. Okay, alright. I guess we've decided to play aggressively for my cubes. Goddamn. We both beefed it. What the hell? Got my 8 back. Let's go. We're good. Got my 8 back. Was a problem. Okay. I am interested in drawing a Loki. I think, as I mostly am. As I tend to be. Look like a Loki or a werewolf or something. Okay. This might let me do some stuff. Get some clog plans going. I actually think I might go here. Oh, look at that. Fascinating. Oh man, they had it all again? Wait, I win. Haha! I played around it somehow. I'm a genius. Snow Guard with also not leaving the wolf stuck on the ring. Kind of a lot of asks there, I think, for me. I would not expect him to run Shadow Kingdom. This person, on the other hand, would run Shadow Kingdom. Whoa, they're snapping me? That can't be good. That can't be good. middle, goes left, goes right, goes middle. Here's what I'm wondering. Do I just want to lock up that thing? Goes middle, goes left. I kind of think it might be this. He actually has Jane. What do you know? Here's the thing, though. Check this out. Holy shit, what a Coulson. Yeah, so both Beta Ray Bill and Jane Foster were from Agent Coulson. Anywho, this was why we did the werewolf play, by the way. Because now, the werewolf just wins that lane. That was the only way we were going to win that if they had a guy, right? Like, my shit if he had a random Odin, I'm not going to lie. I would have flipped my fucking lid, dude. If there was a random Odin in there, I'm losing my whole shit. It's over for me. Boy, I mean, I hope you have something to get in there. Because I fucking don't. He do be shitting. He do. Oh, wait, I have a snow guard. Maybe I can get in there. I don't know. Sure is a game of Marvel Snap we're playing here. All right. I see. Wait, I shouldn't have done this. It's okay, we die to Goliath either way. It's true. It's so true. Oh! Oh! Somehow we pulled it off! Holy shit! The exact Shang top deck and the exact their Mockingbird. Oh! Yup. You got me. Okay, this sucks. Where are my cards, bro? I can kill whatever they clone. Is it this? Screw it. I don't fucking know. Okay, it was that. It was, in fact, that. El Boomer Snapperoonie. Squatch mid? I didn't think it was Squatch. Does collection check work for full 5 players? Yeah, but I don't know why you'd want it. I'm a Ligma male. Wow. Well, they seem fucked. Maybe I'm fucked. Oh, God. No, it's a tiebreaker? Oh, no, I just win. I like winning. I'm a fan of that when I can make it happen. Hell yeah, brother. I'm a big fan of winning. Was I watching then? I don't know, but I don't think it was Sizer. Weird game. I see. The worst part is I don't even know if we can snap double Gwenpool because of the potential for do we need this? Is our job here to snow guard? Turn off the double thing? Maybe I was supposed to snow guard. I have genuinely no idea. Okay, we're good. That is almost exactly what I played around. Like, almost to a T. They could have KM, that's why I played the Nova. I figured if they had KM Surfer, I was always winning.